St. Patrick's Day 3 years ago, some guy challenged me to Irish step dance off. What this guy didn't realize was that he decided to start a dance off against a world champion Irish dancer. I had all my drinks paid for after that. Hey guys, Reddita here. Welcome to part 2 of people whipping out their secret skills and school fools. For those of you expecting the mother-in-law called me damaged goods video due to a technical issue, we'll be premiering that tomorrow instead. Now, time for the part we all hate before the video. If you like the video, like and subscribe. If you want to get notified about the daily upload, hit the bell. Okay, on with the video. Enjoy. r/askreddit. Has anyone ever challenged you to something you are an expert at without them knowing it? If so, how did it turn out for them? I'm no expert, but I've logged way too many hours of Super Smash Bros on N64. Somehow at parties we end up bringing out the N64. I play really well and guys aren't a fan of a girl winning with a pink Samus. I bought a house and had a guy offer us a $20 Lowe's card to give us an in-home demonstration of water filtration technology. He came in and set up and started his spiel. He asked me what I do for a living, and I replied that I am a chemist at a water treatment plant. He stopped for a second and said, "You probably know more about this stuff than I do." He then asked to talk with my wife, who refused. He packed up and left without continuing the demo. Never got my $20 Lowe's card. I went to see a Jupiter Ascending at the cinema last month, and the projection was slightly out of focus all the way through despite complaints. I spoke to the manager at the end to see if I could score some free tickets, citing a poor customer experience. But he explained very condescendingly that this film was shot with a new type of camera, and it was supposed to look like it did. I listened patiently, then explained I had spent 6 months as the first assistant cameraman on that film, and that what he said sounded a lot like nonsense. Got free tickets. Back in my school's anime club, we had this kid, I think the term is weeboo, who wouldn't stop bragging about how good his Japanese is, and how the rest of us should call him sensei. Apparently, he had been taking Japanese since middle school. I was actually raised in Japan. Turns out all he could do was elementary level Japanese. Couldn't even understand a single bit of colloquial Japanese or write more than a few basic sentences. Someone tried to challenge my knowledge of country locations. They had no idea that I can name and place every country on earth without any mistakes. He tried to insist that he of course knew Eastern European country locations better than me because he was European. Belittling me was only working to my advantage when I made him look it up, and he looked like that much more of an idiot. I used to be in the England badminton squad when I was younger, like 10-12, and played county from 12-14, but then gave it up to play rugby. We had a new pay teacher who liked to get involved and join in, and he seemed to think he was very good at badminton, and he fronted the after school club, which I didn't go to. He offered a game to everyone in the class and said if someone got within 5 points of him, scoring goes first to 21 points wins, he would give them £20. I was nominated by the rest of the class and I ended up winning 21-7 despite him being about 25 years old and a pretty decent player. Needless to say, he was pretty embarrassed. Original Halo. Used to work at a school. Few kids were talking trash. Long story short, we grabbed 2's boxes after school, hooked them up. 3-on-2 quickly turned into a 1v4 massacre of epic proportions. 50 to 2 or 3. Kids think they old school. They saw me nading. They hat in. Pistoling Motherfucker riding dirty. A co-worker wrote a short melody on his whiteboard and challenged anyone to name that tune. I have a music degree and excelled in sight singing. I sang it out loud, first time through, and told him the name, Ride of the Valkyries. Best response was the guy next to me, who then said, "You can read music?" On St. Patrick's Day 3 years ago, some guy challenged me to Irish step dance off. What this guy didn't realize was that he decided to start a dance off against a world champion Irish dancer. I had all my drinks paid for after that. I sort of did that. I was jokingly challenging my philosophy teacher with a 1-meter ruler. Sort of like a sword. He grabbed a pointer and completely disarmed me. Apparently when he was at Oxford he had done fencing. And for quite a while after that. I was in my mid-40s at the time. My son's babysitter, who was on the high school track team, challenged me to a foot race 200 yards or so. Big mistake. I don't know why. I have never run competitively or trained in any way. But I can run. I'm 64 now and have 8 kids. None of whom has ever beat me in a foot race. They still occasionally try. Not exactly on topic because they know it. But I am really fast at doing math in my head. Adding, subtracting, multiplication and division. My kids like to play dad versus the calculator. They give me an equation and I can usually give them the answer without using paper and pencil before they can get the answer using a calculator. This is backwards. I accidentally challenged someone. I was talking to a couple of guys at a party. And at some point the conversation turned to those pain games kids drunk guys play. Like punching each other in the fists until someone gives up. So I feel pretty confident. Because I have a high pain tolerance and everyone says the guy I am talking to is the most boring guy ever. And never does anything rash, stupid, interesting. 20 or so incredibly painful punches in. I'm starting to think maybe he knows something I don't. Because he shows no signs of discomfort. Let alone the excruciating pain that I'm feeling. He's just smiling at me. We stop talking entirely. And the game escalates. Finally, I've lost count and I can't take it anymore. I curl up over my swollen, purple hand. And say something like what the fuck. He starts laughing and explains. He has nerve damage in his fists from injuries sustained playing this game as a kid. He can't feel anything in the area around his knuckles. Or in the back of either hand. No one, except me, being a dumbass, has challenged him in years. Because everyone knows he can play forever without any pain whatsoever. Not exactly expert. But I am bilingual. I come from the US but moved to Poland when I was about 6 years old. I'm now 23. However, I don't have an unusual accent in either language. I sound like a normal American when I speak English. And I sound like a normal Pole when I speak Polish. I've had multiple situations where I've corrected someone's English. They challenge me. Then realize I'm a native speaker. Whoops. Also funny to hear people talking about me in the other language. English speakers when I'm in Poland. Polish speakers in the UK. Often being rude. Assuming I don't understand. Just as simple as that, so? Or some small phrase and people go all red. Last week I was going to go upstairs to brush my teeth. Well, lo and behold, out of nowhere my daughter gets all cocky and challenges me to a race up the stairs. Now, she's 6 and in shape. But I've been running upstairs my whole damn life. So, we line up and go charging up the stairs. Well, she won. I had to let her win like every time. Stupid Big Bang Theory means everyone thinks they're physicists. I have degree in chemistry, including 3 years of quantum mechanics modules from a leading uni, but I work in finance, so most people just assume I have finance related education. One guy I went out with on the first day started explaining to me about cats in boxes in the most condescending tone of voice. I wouldn't have cared if hadn't spoken to me like I was an idiot. I pulled out a pen and on a napkin wrote the equation and started talking about the concept of wave-particle duality and then asked what he knew about the double-slit experiment. I didn't get a second date, but the people on the next table laughed. I was at the annual Mudfest in Korea. They had mud wrestling. However, the sexual connotation of the act must have been lost in translation. It consisted of 130-150 lbs Korean men wrestling each other. Almost like sumo. First person to fall on the ground or fall out of the 10-foot diameter inflatable tub was out. There was a huge line of like 75-100 individuals lined up to wrestle and show off to their friends. Winner stays. I have wrestled for many years. Competed in judo. And have been doing BJJ for 7 years. At that time, I woke up. And they stopped yelling American. American chanting me in. I was demolishing kids. Like 3-5 seconds I had these guys on the ground or out of the ring. I was probably 165 pounds. Not overly big. Soon, They started asking if they could add more. First 2. Then 3. Eventually I was wrestling 5 people at once. I finally got tired after a good 12-15 minutes fighting off multiple individuals. The plot twist. My real secret was that I put on water socks and no one noticed in the murky muddy water, and it gave me superior grip compared to their naked feet on slippery plastic. In high school, many kids would challenge me to Magic the Gathering because they saw me play it at lunch. Little did they know I was a pro to a qualifier grinder and a Grand Prix player. I have a pretty good one. I was sick with a streptococcus throat infection. I've had them chronically since I was a child. When I was attending college, and the nurse gave me a really hard time about getting antibiotics when I went to the on-campus clinic. She kept going on about how students don't realize that a cold won't be fixed with antibiotics, and generally being a jerk about it. So the doctor comes in, looks in my throat for about 1 second and says, "Yep, it's strep. We'll get you some antibiotics. By the way, what do you study here?" I look at the nurse in the corner beginning to fume from the doctor's answer. Smile and reply, "Microbiology." When I was like 16, my friends and I had a lightsaber battle after a couple feet of snow had fallen. Now my brother and I fought with those things constantly. For years. In the yard. On the trampoline. In the barn loft. Wherever. Well, during the Battle of Hoth, there were snowballs in play as well. I guess I got too into it and was used to fighting my brother, who was more practiced than my friends. I was running towards a guy. He hurls a snowball. I come up with the lightsaber and hit the snowball. Then come back down. And hit him right near the collarbone. I was told to stop playing so hard. Sorry. Can't turn this Jedi swagger off. In college, a coworker of mine hosted a Hearts tournament. Buy-in was like $10 and the top person from each of the 8 tables were matched up to play each other in 2 games. And then the top 2 of those played in the championship game. I asked to join in since he needed people to fill the tables. Do you even know how to play? It won't be like playing on the computer. You know. I think I can manage. Okay. I can give you some pointers if you like. I'm pretty good. I learned how to play Hearts at 4. And it's something my family did throughout my childhood. I've always been able to count cards, I guess you would say, and keep track of everything that has been played. I won the championship round with a score of 7. For those of you who don't know, it's like golf, when a player crosses 100 points. The player with the lowest score wins. The person with 118? MR. Let me know if you need any help. That $320 helped pay my rent. Thanks, dude. So I made model wooden swords a while ago. And one day my friend and I were in the garage, no idea why, and he challenged me to a sword fight. Now, no one knew, but at the time I'd been doing fencing for a few months. So, considering I'm kind of scrawny and all, he was surprised when I blocked every single one of his attacks and won 5 times in a row. Somebody challenged me to play a round of Age of Empires 2, medieval strategy computer game, against him. I used to play that game on a competitive level, so I just proceeded to play at roughly the same snail's pace speed he did. Sometimes attack him with a weak arm is to make it look like I'm struggling to beat him, while in reality 90% of my traps were tucked away hidden in the back of my lands. It was closed off arena map. That made it really easy to hide them from him. So I continue to act like I'm struggling and slowly start to give in to his siege attacks, making it look he's actually going to win the game. At one point he asks in a victoriously smug voice, "So looks like the game is over, right?" To which I reply, "Looks like it." And before he could say anything else, roughly 100 fully upgraded elite Teutonic knights emerged from my side of the fog of war and proceeded to annihilate everything in their path. His reaction was priceless. It went from complete disbelief, "Where are all those units from?" to denial, "You cheating a shat," and various other emotions. While I just had a hearty laugh. Part 3 coming soon. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.